You got this.
And we are back. We are work in progress. Sante and myself, Jeff Guarino, and we are here to discuss the day. We're here. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. It might be a rant today. We don't know, but we're glad that you came to look in. Sante, how have you been?
Yes.
You haven't been with us, and I want to know how you're doing.
I'm fine. Well, I had COVID. I think I'm gonna say we both had COVID, but I can talk about myself having COVID. I had COVID, and then there was a snowstorm, so I was stuck in the house, kind of eating. And I've been at work, and I bought a car. And as you know from today, I've had that car for about a week. And then on our topic of weather, it was too cold for my battery to start. So
Too cold for the battery.
yeah, I let because the car sat outside for like probably 2 days, and I didn't go anywhere. I was at work, so when I came to come here today, I tried to start the car and nothing happened. And I bought it a week ago, and this is my first time buying a car in Iceland. So everything, I was having my friend guide me through everything, and I was asking a bunch of questions. I was like, "Come with me to the place. I don't want them to get over on me because I'm a foreigner." And I was so scared.
Wow.
He's like, you don't have to do that, because he worked as a car salesman. He's like, it's kind of a myth, like women need to come with a man. I was like, and I told him, I was like, the lady who sold me the car, I don't know why. I just started lying to her. I was like, yeah, my boyfriend is going to come help me look at the car. Yes, my boyfriend's going to take it to the place to get it. I was like, why am I lying to her? And he just thought it was so funny because I was like, yeah, my boyfriend is coming. So we're going to talk about this.
See, like, now, it's the weather that brings us all together. No matter who you are, where you're from, if you're living here and it's the winter time, you're going to experience some of the same things. Now, I also am a veteran of the COVID. I was locked down for 7 days against my will. No, but and that's exactly when that snowstorm came through. And I was looking at my car in the parking lot slowly get covered in snow. I'm like, am I supposed to go out there and clean this? I'm in isolation. I can't do it. So the last day they had like a plow come through, and like I was the only car there. It's obvious that I hadn't moved in like 7 days. So I was like, oh man, I got to get out and like shovel my car out, and I don't feel great. So I went out there for like an hour digging my car out of snow. That was like super deep. I don't even know. When they measure, I don't like. But anyway, yeah, I finally got it out, and the guy plowed the whole thing. It took him the whole day, and coming from the States, I used to plow. I was one of those guys. I was a private contractor with a company, and we used to plow, mall parking lots, condo parking lots. They'd call me at 3 a.m. It's starting to snow. Get in a truck. And we'd be plowing all day. Great money. And when I came to Iceland, for some reason, I was like, it's Iceland. It's up north. They probably got the best snow plowing system in the world. Nobody can beat them. And little did I know, it's like, okay, some things just don't make sense. No. It's like they sell a lot of front wheel drive cars. However, they don't plow very well. This is not as interesting because in the States, like they closed the school for like the littlest of like things like snowflake. Okay, call the administration. We got to figure out a plan to alleviate. And I think probably the reason that is because you get sued in the States. You can get sued really quickly for if you didn't shovel your sidewalk and somebody falls, you're going to get sued. If you're a business and you didn't shovel in front, you're going to get sued. Here, no, it's kind of like if you can make it, okay. If you can't, okay. It's just like, come on, man, really? This is how we got to do it. And I was thinking like, how am I going to get to work if it's like this? How am I going to get to work? I can,
So you just better get there.
You just got to get there, right? Wait on the bus.
That seems to be the thing. You just better get there.
And here is where the topic crescendos is. What I'm saying is, we live in a society, okay? There's top levels, middle, there's bottom. Mm-hmm. The one thing we all have to do is move about to get things done. So, when I'm very Virgo in my thinking, I'm very logical in my thinking. So we got to have a way that people can just move about easily, right? So this should be something that's a little more thought through, or you have issues where people can't get in. You might have accidents for people trying to get. It's just it seems like an oversight in some ways. The way traffic is done, it should, and like, I don't know all the details and specifics. I don't know. The one thing I do know is, if I had a pickup and a plow, I would clean up, because I did that for over 6 years, just plowing in different size trucks, big trucks, pickup trucks, little small, mid-sized pickup trucks, and we had ingenious systems on our trucks. I had a truck that had a front plow and a back plow, so whether you're going forward or backward, you're plowing something. Mm-hmm. And it was in a little Ford F-150, and you can like maneuver it in like the tightest of spots. And oh man, I wish I could have shown you like the places that I plowed and how it looked afterwards. But yeah. So
this might be something you want to take up with the city, then, isn't it?
Hey man, if a truck didn't, I don't know how much is a pickup truck, like $8 million or something. It's an investment. Who knows? And that's the other thing. So you bought a car, mm-hmm. and I believe you said you moved.
Yes.
So let's talk about this for people working in and around Reykjavik. We're talking about, we've had a lot of insight with the COVID as to issues that have come up with COVID, talking about healthcare, the healthcare systems, jobs, essential jobs. Somehow, to me, the short attention span of society has not really digested what needs to happen. And because nature has pretty much slapped us in the face and said, wake up, you're doing some things wrong, you need to start correct some things. What is your thoughts on where we are societal wise, and how nature continually shows us where we might want to focus?
I would have to say what I can legally say right now.
Because
I have an essential job at the moment.
Yes. Yes.
We are seeing like cracks in the system, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I feel like they're kind of that's your problem. You deal with it, and it's starting to become a bit. It's concerning, because like, for example, me and my coworkers are some of the people that have to deal with it sometimes. Mm-hmm. So it's starting to become more of especially now that the laws have changed here in Iceland. So there's no more sóttkví or quarantine. We just have isolation now. So we have people that if you get, like, for example, a positive rapid test, mm-hmm. you still need to go for PCR. That means you need to go home, whether you live with an elderly parent or not. And for some people, they don't feel great doing that, especially if they already start to feel sick and they just need the PCR to confirm that they have COVID-19. So we're starting to see a lot of cracks in that. And now that we're closing, I think they're closing many of the hotels down, like the isolation hotels. So we have to find new jobs, of course, which mm-hmm. is fine. But it's our jobs have always been like a month by month thing. So you don't know if you're really going to have a job next month until the middle or end of this month.
Okay. So we kind of know where that stands. Mm-hmm. Healthcare, that's, man, I went for a rapid test. I took a home test and it was positive. So I was like, oh, great. So then I wasn't even, my work ethic has been to go to work, if you can stand. Mm-hmm. And I think that's drilled into us, society. I see it in the States. I see it here, kind of like, don't think about your health too much. Just do what you need to do. Go in the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's been drilled on the business side of squeezing as much out of people, regardless of what your health is. So I took my home kit and it was positive, and I was like, let me just make sure I don't have it, because everybody around me was getting it. And of course, I went for rapid tests and it came back positive. And like you said, I got there, I scheduled an appointment on the app. It's like, all right, come at this time. I'm like, okay. Now,
unless it doesn't matter.
Appointments, if I'm not mistaken, appointments are, we give you a time, you show up, and we take care of you at that time. No. Appointments here seem to be more like, it's just something we do. Better. It's just something we do. Okay. It doesn't mean anything, because I got there a little bit ahead of time, as you do, and waited there for like 20 minutes outside. And I'm like, I had an appointment. Everything was locked. There was nobody saying anything. There were lines forming and everything. And it was just really kind of unorganized. And, I don't understand. There are some people who say, why are you complaining? Well, then just do this. It's like, look, if you want to make something better, you have to listen to what's wrong. You have to know what the problem is to fix it. And if you want to live with continual problems,
you also have to care about what the problem
is. Yeah, you have to care about what the problems are.
They don't care if you sit outside for 20 minutes.
That's true. That's true.
You got your test, didn't you?
Eventually, yes, I did.
Thank you.
So that's the end result. I see. But I think we settle for things when life is too short. Life is really too short. If I can make someone's life easier by moving to the left a little, what does it hurt? I want to be a thorn for my short life. Anyway, that's okay. I'm going off on a tangent, but I did get the test, and then I went to isolation. And for me, for my personality, that's great. And I can definitely see where some people who might have issues with being alone and may not be healthy mentally, that's a big issue and should be thought about, because the mental health aspect is real, and we have a lot of pressures put on us, regular working class people, that I think are a little unfair. And I did my isolation fine, but like I said, at the end of it, I had to go out and shovel and get myself dug out, which a lot of people had to do. And I have older neighbors, and so I tried to shovel in front a little bit and get things done. We have a person who does it, but I was there, so you do it. And just being able to help someone else out, it seems to be sorely lacking a lot of times. And in the realm of what's happened with COVID and things we've seen, the failures in the system, and what we call essential, like going to the store and having that store be stocked. And I see the people there stocking the shelves, and these people you don't think about, they have to get up. They have to, get childcare or take care of stuff. I thought about that. I was one of those people. I am one of those people. So, of course I thought about it, but I thought about it even more since this all came down. And I don't think, like, those who are in charge, those who make policies, those who, have the ability to help change things, do they really think it's going to remain the same? I mean, because there's a breaking point. And I wonder, does it have to get a lot worse for things to actually change?
I mean, that's a good question, because when COVID first started, especially here in Iceland, I know I had a friend, she had 2 small children, and everyone started getting like their groceries delivered and all this stuff. And everyone was like, oh, it's so dangerous to be out. And she said, oh, all my friends who work like in the stores, they all getting COVID and everything. And it's so terrible for them, but I'm not going to the store. Like, they still have to keep doing their jobs. Like, it sucks for them, but That's pretty much what it was. It sucks for them.
Oh man.
And I was like, well, they have kids like you do, that they need to feed and take care of, and they don't want, this is before we knew everything we know about COVID now. Of course, it can be severe for others, more severe for others than, whatnot. So I was like, that's kind of surprised me that it was kind of like, yeah, they have it and it sucks, but, we need them to get better so they can go back to work and continue to take care of me. And I was like, yes. But, and it was surprising because we're of the, I don't know, maybe my mentality, we're of like the same working class. So, you have a tendency to take care of each other. And it seemed to me more of like, you take care of me because it's your job to deliver groceries. I understand you have COVID and it's dangerous out there, but that's your choice. And I need my groceries, so bring them to me. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But I was like, all these people have their own lives, their own intricacies of person. So I was really surprised that this is the mentality, like, that's fine. I was like, well, and I also think this speaks to different people's personalities. I've been watching this guy on YouTube. He's a psychologist. It was very interesting.
Joe Rogan. Oh, sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No, it's called Psychology in Seattle. And there was, some people have this mentality that before they come into your lives, like, it's almost like you're sitting in a box doing nothing. And then they have to tell you everything to do. They get your life had no meaning until they came. So I was like, this is so interesting because I never thought about that. But I have met some people like that before. And I was like, who the hell do you think you are? This is very weird. Like, I have a life before I met you. And I'll have one after I leave your life for good. So I was like, this is interesting. So it kind of made me think of that. These people have lives of their own where they need to take care of the people that they love as well. Yeah. And they're in a position where they're considered essential, but also kind of throwaways.
Oh man, wow. That's a, paradox. But why do you think that is? I think, with the social media, I think we've been slowly brainwashed in a way because like the whole Facebook, Instagram algorithms are based on like likes. And it's like, put something out there. It doesn't matter. Just how many likes you're going to get. So you're like, I'll do something stupid. Okay. And it's like you're going without thinking. In some ways. And I think society has been more introverted. Like, what about me? 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 And I'm not saying I'm immune to that, but I see it and I'm wondering, I haven't given up on my humanity, I guess, because I still feel things for people, and I think lately with just a lot of things with social media and blah, blah, when you have this, it's not seen for what it is. And the message, like I was saying, like COVID and nature is giving us messages and we're not really getting it. And like you said, essential workers, I really started to appreciate people who do those jobs that we really don't think about. The garbage people, the sanitation people, the people who clean up, all these people. And in Iceland, it's so separated because in any country, usually the unskilled, I guess you call it, workers, the maids and all this stuff are usually foreigners. You don't think about them and you don't think about their life or anything. It's just, but you notice when they're gone. And maybe that needs to change if we, and there's a lot of issues that come up with that. Like, if I were in an upper position of power, I wouldn't want a lot of problems. So, putting out fires while you see the smoke, I don't see it happening. I don't even see the thought process. Like, things need to change. It's more like, all right, well, we're not burning yet, so let's keep going. It's like, no, but the smoke is building.
But there's little fires everywhere that you don't actually have to take care of.
But here's the thing. Here's my bigger point is that I've understood and I've heard for a long time in my own personal development about we're all connected, and I start seeing the connections. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. COVID shows us everything's connected. The truck drivers you never thought about who deliver stuff and what their issues are, what their lives are about. Well, hey, guess what? they're having issues. Now that affects us, and it ripples. It ripples all across. And in the States, we talk about healthcare and childcare. More importantly, childcare. So women are staying home and watching the kids because of the schools not being open. Blah blah blah. And now the businesses are open. They're like, nobody wants to come back to work, and it's like, no, nobody can find healthcare that they can or childcare they can afford to go back to work. And the narrative is always skewed. So it's not truthful. It's always like, well, people don't want to work. No, people want to work. Most people value work. Most people get a sense of themselves from work. That is the truth. But
they want to be paid for their work, maybe.
And they want to be paid and valued for their work, right? And the essentials, what's essential? You know, when you look at I look at like how it was before COVID, and it's like the things we in media and whatnot that seem to be valued are like the CEOs. All right, the CEOs run the company, and it takes skill and strategy and all these things, but they're not out there building themselves. They're not out there on their hands and knees. So it's a collaborative effort. It's a contribution to an end result. But we don't, it's always like the star, you know, or the star quarterback. Well, you need a team to help him do his thing. You need a team to help a company be successful. You need a team, and that involves people, not just the ones you see who are visible, but the invisible. And that lack of understanding the connectingness of everything is a total abomination to life itself, what life says itself. Life is about a balance. And when things get imbalanced, life and nature, you just look at anything in nature that's imbalanced, you'll see there's a problem. If there's too many lions, not enough deer, problem. You know, if there's not enough wilderness area and there's too much building and encroachment into that area, well, guess what? Your pet goes missing because a mountain lion just ate it or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a balance, and like not understanding
there's an imbalance in there.
Say that again?
I said, like capitalism, there's an imbalance in there because we have problems, as you can see. Like you said, I think what is essential, I think during COVID, what became essential was keeping people pleased and placated. I want my McDonald's. I want to go get my groceries delivered because, I want to go get a haircut, which somehow became essential when you didn't even need to go to work. Like everything was done over Zoom. You know, at the beginning of COVID, once they started shutting everything down, they were starting to define what became essential. It became healthcare workers. Slowly it started to become fast food workers who were being paid close to nothing. And then it was like, you need to come in, you're really important. And they were like, you know what, actually, I'm coming to work. I'm being treated like crap. I'm being paid crap. We're super understaffed. And it's like, actually, I don't need to be here. And people were saying, you know, they're getting unemployment, so they would rather be lazy and do nothing. I said, the fact that they're getting paid more on unemployment should say something to you straight out the gate. They're getting paid more on unemployment. They get to be at home safe from COVID. You don't care about them catching COVID. You care about your food coming out of that window.
Exactly.
When you go from window 1 to window 3. You don't care if the person who's doing it is sick. You don't even know. You're just like, where's my stuff? Why is it taking so long? Yeah, it's only 2 of us in here. We're trying to do everything. I'm so sorry. And they're like, you know, because no one wants to work. They don't have to be getting paid like crap when they're on unemployment. They probably get this probably the most time they get to spend with their families, because if not, they're usually at work.
What blows me, oh man, it's just because everything you're saying is just bringing things to my mind, and I'm like, you know, when people were talking about $15 minimum wage in the States, for instance, you know, paying minimum wage people what they're worth, and then you see the 3 richest men on the planet competing with their penis rockets. It's like, yeah, we should go to space. We could go to space. I don't know. We could bleep it out, I guess, but it's what it is. But, you know, let's go to space. How about we fix, you know, where you need to live? Like on the planet, you need the planet.
Well, have you seen all those sci-fi shows where, you know, they finally get into space and they take like a certain number of people because planet Earth, there was one I was watching, like the 100, planet Earth had, you know, some big thing happen and they all went to space and they were all like, I was allowed one kid and this and that. And I'm like, you know what, actually, in the end, personally, I don't want to fucking make it up there. Why? I want to die here. Me, if I have kids, we're all gonna. I just want to die here. I have no desire
be shot into the void of space
to make it into space. And then they're like, you know what? You're gonna be on the cleanup crew, and you're not allowed to have any kids. And this is what you know, you get to have this green soup for 3 square meals a day. I'm like, actually, you know, I should have died down there.
I'm telling you.
You know, I got to breathe some clean air. I got to go for a walk. Yeah, it wasn't great. I wasn't rich, but I wasn't sleeping in a cell. Cleaning up after you guys. I'm like, you know, I want to die right down here.
Well, no, you know, it's just, oh man. I remember watching news coverage and I'm like, the news media and the reporters like, so how is it going into space? How is it the rocket? Meanwhile, everything's burning. People are dying in the streets. The hospitals are overrun with like COVID. Nurses and doctors are like, I don't know if I can survive another 2 minutes. It's like, and then it's, oh, how do you feel about going into space? Tell me what you're wearing. It's like, really? No, really.
We have bigger things to focus on.
Well, yeah.
Sadly.
And it's like nobody talks about the fact that they have $3 billion to build on a rocket. We have look, put your intelligence and your education and your genius to fixing some of the systemic issues and balancing things. If you're really that smart, then you would be able to have solutions to the problems that we have now. And the fact that people are, you know, jerking these guys off and making them like they're the best thing since sliced bread. You know, you're not that smart because you obtained a lot of money or you figured out a way to game the system that's rigged for you to win. It doesn't make you smart, you know, but we lift up the wrong things. Don't take my word for it because, you know, I'm one of the people who believes a little bit in have my faith in God and religion. And I tell you, as much as I've read Revelations and all that. And one is like, I don't want to get too biblical, but hey, some things are just too on the nose. And the Bible says in the end times, people will be lovers of themselves. They will have hardened hearts, meaning they won't give a crap about nobody but themselves. Lovers of themselves. They will just, you know, have no respect for people or things. Basically.
So how many end times?
And it's like, so how will you be able to correct that situation? Well, a big ball of flaming rock will have to come from space and just hit the judgment reset button because you people ain't figuring it out.
I still think at that point nothing would actually change because I think the biggest problem is, and you said these 3 men have all this money. We're still fighting with each other down here. You know, they're making the problem that fast food workers are getting $15 an hour. Why am I not getting $15 an hour? Well, actually, you should be like, why am I not getting $50 an hour?
Exactly.
But that's the thing that keeps them in power. We're too busy saying you don't deserve things because you work at Cronon. You don't deserve to have a new phone because you didn't do well enough in life to be like me and work at a hotel. So why are you getting more? And this shouldn't be the problem. This shouldn't be the conversation.
This inane world system has set it up for us to tear apart people who have no power and praise those who do and give them a, you know, get out of jail for free card pretty much. And that's what's, it's really sick. It's really twisted. And, you know, if you are of religious thinking, it all makes sense because it's all kind of following that plan. Whether you like it or not, believe it or not, really doesn't matter. Really, what's scary about it is it's following the playbook. Exactly. It is literally following the playbook. And that's why I keep asking the question, like, well, do they see this? You know, are we aware of what's going on? Are things changing? And I don't see things changing for the better. I see them more entrenched because we have people who should be on our sides. When we have issues of like Black Lives Matter or the right for self-determination, voting rights in the States, and, you know, just people's right to live and, you know, have some little bit of happiness in the short time span they have. And they're out in the streets protesting because they can't afford gas or housing prices are through the roof. So instead of enjoying the fruits of their labor, they are continually worried about the next piece of fruit they're going to be able to afford.
That's also a problem we have here in Iceland.
Exactly.
The cost of housing, for example. I just moved.
Imbalance.
That's
I see houses being built in developments all the time, and then I'm like, I keep hearing there's a housing shortage. I'm like, are these things bought and paid already? They're not even built yet. There's like developments going up left and right. Every little crack where there used to be an empty space, there seems like they're putting up an apartment building. I'm like, is this for those who have a crap ton of money and nothing to do with it, but figure, let's just build this and see what is it? The Edison and next to Harpa, these hotels that are going up. And I saw the prices
that one for a while.
Yeah, I know, but I saw the prices on those, and I'm like, I don't think this is for the average people. I don't even think it's for the average person occasionally.
No,
right?
It has to be for someone who wants to have a place in Iceland, of course, that they can just have because you have that much money to say that kind of thing. And the places that they're building all these new developments is kind of, to me, I'm not a city ordinator of any kind. I'm not an architect. But I saw one of the plots of land they want to build buildings on, and I said, this has to be a joke, right? Because it was so thin, and it was like the land. I was like, you can't put a building here. I said, what kind of building are you actually going to have on this piece of land? I was just very curious. Like in my head, I wanted to see it. And I said, well, this blocks everyone's view who lives here. Your car is here. I was like, these things are making sense. So what is this really about? And of course, it has to be about money. And the fact that money can make you stupid. Because to me, there's very little sense in this. It doesn't even have to be common sense. There's very little sense in creating a building on this tiny piece of land. And I'm like, who's going to buy a place there? Who can afford it? Who wants to live right on a busy street like that? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
There's so many things that, don't really make sense. And it's not here to bash on people who have made success. And I think the media overhypes a lot of these people a lot of times. Like when they broke down, there was an article, I can't remember where it was because I pick up this stuff because it's just curiously interesting to me. But they were talking about these self-made billionaires, and then they broke it down. They're like, well, where did Bill Gates, for instance, get his start? Well, his mother happened to know an executive from HP and said, could you help my son? So he's really self-made. No, that's bull. Elon Musk, same thing. Like they had connection.
You already said penis, say shit.
Jeff Bezos, I think he got a loan for $300,000. It's like, yeah, my parents had $300,000 to loan me to start a business too. Let's stop. The truth matters, and this world needs to really get back to what is true, so you can understand what people are talking about. And what the proper way forward is. And truth has lost its meaning. Truth has totally gone out the window. And again, me being a biblical minded and raised person, I remember
we gotta have
when Jesus says to Pontius Pilate, who's a politician, or Pontius Pilate says to Jesus, what is truth? Because Jesus says, I'm the truth. And Pontius Pilate says, what is truth? And I thought, wow, man, does that apply today?
A word.
Does that apply today? What is truth? If you look at the politicians, especially my home country and the politicians there, they do not know what truth is.
Does any politician know what the truth is, Jeffrey?
But it was such a brilliant, timeless point. What is truth? And if you don't know what truth is, you're lost. You are so lost.
But isn't truth also based on different points of view?
Yeah,
because I feel like that would be another thing. Everyone has a different version of their truth or what happened, in the event of things. Also, serious question. Has anyone made the Bible into a comic book yet?
Yes.
Because I was thinking if the Bible was a comic book, because when I was a kid, we were raised Jehovah's Witness, actually, or Wotu Yehovah in Icelandic. Okay. And I had to learn this, of course. And they had, like the I don't know, like the Bible stories, the really strange books. And I just always remember, was it Delilah and Samson, the one about the hair? As a kid, I found this very interesting. I was like, because I heard the term Jezebel before, but I was like, I didn't understand it. And I was like, why? Oh, a Jezebel. Okay, interesting. Whatever. But I remember thinking this was a very, as a kid, like, it was very stimulating because this is the only thing that we were allowed to see. That had like so many colors, and we read them all the time. We weren't allowed to really watch TV, of course. So that's your life. I'm not big on religion, but I just imagine from some of the things I hear from the Bible, I'm like, if these were made into comic books, some of the stuff you wouldn't believe.
No, but my thing is, and maybe we're going off on a Bible tangent. If you're not interested, tune out. But it's interesting.
We got to have an episode about this.
We will have an episode.
I'm going to read this comic book Bible thing.
What's interesting to me about anything that's within the Bible is a lot of it is allegory, or it sort of references, and a lot of these stories are timeless. They're lessons, they're parables. The parable of the man who the king forgives, and then the man goes and berates somebody that owes him money. And the king goes, why are you, I just forgave you a debt, but you're going to the guy who owes you money, and you're being such an a-hole to it. I mean, there's stories in there that are meant, I think, for us to reflect on our own hypocrisies and change them and understand why they need to change. And again, back to my earlier point, is because everything is connected. There's a connection to things. Like when we did the Black Lives Matter protest, and I always harp back on this, it'll stick in my brain till I pass away. Why should I care? Because it was such a profound and truthful question. Why should I care about Black people being upset because people are getting shot? What do I care? I'm not Black. And it's like, this is the world we live in. Everything can be that way. You can break down anything that way. Why should I care about women's rights? I'm not a woman. Why should I care of Time's Up and Me Too? All these things are connected. They affect and will affect you. Whether you see it now or not, there's a connection to all things. And the intelligent thing is to understand that. The unintelligent thing, in my opinion, is to ignore it, because then it ends up messing you up whether you want to or realize it or not.
Speaking of connection and weather, as we were talking about, I found out, okay, definitely back to the original topic, that children in Iceland are not allowed to shovel driveways.
Wait, where did you hear that?
My coworker told me, because we had to because I had COVID, and then we had the snowstorm. So my driveway is a wreck, and all of our neighbors' houses look amazing. So I was like, I want to pay some kids to come do the driveway. It's a mess. And he said, actually, that's not really allowed in Iceland. Like, somebody said it was against child labor laws. And I said, well, they're not doing that to me. I was like, okay, I guess it can be considered hard labor, but I'm a little older. I'm not that old, much older than some of them, maybe by a decade. But because I was out there doing it myself, and I was like, it keeps snowing, of course. And I had, hadn't shoveled for like 2 weeks, so I was like, ugh. Yeah. And I put my car during the snowstorm. I had just got my car, so I put it in the garage because I was like, I'm not digging this out.
Nice, you.
Right, class.
Good life.
So I was like, I'm not shoveling this car out. And once I opened the garage, I was like, ugh. I had to clear a path a little bit for the car. I was like, oh no, I was like, I gotta pay someone to do this because I can't be doing this every day. And I found out that's not allowed, apparently. And I'm not gonna break any laws to get that done, because I'm a law-abiding citizen,
Wow.
But yes, apparently that's the thing I found out.
I mean, that's how when I was a kid, I used to make my little extra cash.
Exactly.
Go and shovel or my parents would just tell me to go shovel. So I don't know where that
because you live here, go shovel.
It's like, don't we have a snow blower? Don't we have a somebody that is like, yeah, you get the shovel, go clear the sidewalk. But yeah, no, it's interesting. My kids, they're good kids, and they're willing to help whenever needed. But I think it's good to have.
Culturally, the kids cannot go outside and shovel snow, and I just realized this. But they leave the babies outside in the strollers.
But that's a different thing.
No, because that scares me And as an American, when I first came here, I was like, "What in the hell?" Oh, of course. I saw the baby. I was like, "There's a baby here." I was like, "Did someone leave their baby?"
Here's the difference. In the States, it's like everybody has a gun, and everybody, you don't know who the hell is out on the street in the States. Like, oh man, there was like I forget. There's a story about a woman who went by the serial killer on the street or something, and had said something. It's like you don't know who is around in the States, and things happen in the States all the time. Like oh man, there's too much to even like. Things just happen in the States. You go in a grocery store, pop, pop, pop. What's that? Oh, I thought it was fireworks. No, somebody was shooting at their girlfriend in the park. What?
That is true.
I mean, anything is possible in the States. So it's different. But here it's like, but then again, I've heard there's been a rise in gun crime.
Yeah, there was. I think there was an incident. Like it was this week.
We're going long, but we're gonna.
It was an incident this week. And they were saying how it's been. I think there was maybe one last year, and now I think there's another one this year, or like two last year, something like this. I don't know. People are saying, it's American gun culture coming to Iceland. I think personally, like American gun culture is worse, of course, because everyone.
You can get a gun anywhere.
I would say my mother, this lady bought a gun, and I came home. And she's like, yeah. And she comes around with a shotgun. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, oh my God. She was like, oh, I bought this gun and I put one on your side. I was like, oh my God. Like, what the hell am I going to do at 3 a.m. with a gun? I'm going to kill you.
Let me tell you something. When things get bad, like we were talking about these inequalities in pay and stresses in life and blah, blah, blah. When you have a gun in your house, and we're not always rational. We don't always think about it.
We're not perfect
sometimes, and like, can you imagine just being in one of those moods and having a gun?
Well, that's what happens often in America. Some people are in moods. I mean, like people are scared back at home, when I found out someone quit their job or got fired, I'm like, you want to go in tomorrow? Like, you sure about that?
No, that's why I'm always nice to the guy who looks like, or the woman who looks like
they're going to shoot up the place.
Yeah, I'm always nice to them. Can I get you a Snickers? I'm always nice to them because you never know. In the States, that is, at least. I mean, one of the jobs I had was manager of a fast food restaurant in the States. And, I left my shift. I come back on the next shift and find out it was robbed,
That too.
Yeah. So what we're saying is things are crazy, and we're hoping
don't get shot.
We're hoping things become clear and truth becomes popular again. Like truth, not your truth or my truth, but just truth. And we have to get back to what that is. That's where we're going to end it.
I can say truth and also just being honest.
Honesty?
Yeah, I think just being honest, because like you said, not your truth, not my truth.
What's that?
This.
Oh, sorry.
Don't make me slap you. I will honestly slap you, and that will be the truth.
The truth. All right, and that's where we're going to end it. Thanks for tuning in for another hopefully enlightening and enthralling discussion. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them and gain in on the discussion, because we're coming back at it. Next time we're going to go whole biblical and apocalyptic. It's going to be, you're going to want to see that. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to bring up I'm bringing in my 3 Bibles.
You have 3 Bibles?
I had 3 Bibles. One of them got stolen.
All right. How's that for divine intervention? True story.
See, that's next time. Next time I'll tell you the time my Bible got stolen. It's a true story. Okay. Thank you. Signing off.
I don't know if the camera's on me, but I'm gonna wave and say goodbye.
I had my Bibles.
That is